Quite often, I will say things because I feel like they need to be said. Sometimes I will say things so people might learn from my own mistakes and avoid those mistakes in their life. Sometimes I say things just because I think it's interesting and people may be into that piece of wisdom or knowledge that I have obtained from experience. I'm a bit of a private person, so I don't talk about everything I see or hear or know. But I do hope that some of the things I share with people ultimately will serve them well and will better their existence to some degree. Part of why I'm talking about this is so I don't regret not talking about it. It's kind of funny because I'm just realizing, like just now, that I've been going through this oddness, right? And prior to noticing it, like right before, I actually wanted to get better at debate. And the odd thing is, I think it's actually served me in that manner. Someone changed my YouTube settings. A lot of sites are being hacked, but YouTube is definitely getting complaints about that, from my understanding. And for the first time, I had videos that had multiple likes on them, and it was like they had never aired, and they didn't have any likes or views, when I know they had views on them before. So that's not a lot, but it's the principle. I don't think I've ever been hacked before besides on like Facebook. I really haven't had problems with hacking, but I've had problems with my email, PayPal, not even logging into my PayPal, trying to create a PayPal in my name type stuff. Um, and YouTube, of course, which Google. So, yeah, that's super fun. I'm not sure why people have said it might be people that are local. I don't know how popular hacking is, how many people know how to do it or what, but um I will say that I'm very open-minded. I'm interested in who does what. So I find it all interesting, just period. And then you have other things that have happened and it's like, "Oh, now I really want to know." But yeah, I've never had an issue where I've had videos actually end up after being viewed, have no views, or being not silenced, but it wasn't even deleted. It wasn't released is what it was marked as. Actually, my Discord was hacked too. And it's interesting when that happened. Uh, there was one person who was blocked, who was magically unblocked when I signed in. So that's interesting. But to be honest, I didn't really pay too much mind to YouTube for a while because my content is very unorthodox. It can often be perceived as offensive, and I don't really push for mainstream narratives as much as think about it yourself. So I'm kind of more of a BitChute girl. What one man may consider information gathering, another man may consider gossip. Though that isn't necessarily my perspective, it was interesting to consider. Looked around a little bit. I wanted to see if anybody else might have been experiencing anything similar to what I've been seeing. And I found one video, which it was pretty interesting, but I'll give you my experience. a little bit of it anyway. How can you fit so much in such a short amount of time? But her perspective was interesting to hear as well. There are some things that she says that are quite similar to what I've been through, what I've seen. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I requested a copy of my credit report, and I actually found another number on it, which I don't recognize. I called, and it is local, but it is not a working number. So, so I'm still coming at this from the perspective of kind of cover your butt. Make sure nothing has actually illegally gone on under my or my daughter's name. But at heart, I am a bit of a student and a scientist, so I have definitely put a lot of thought into this. I actually, after starting to take the steps to make sure, identities were not compromised, um, I started really logically thinking about, okay, who would have the power to do this? Who would want to do this? Da 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 da. The first thing I did to try to gather evidence, because I was under the impression that whenever you make like an account, they make you an online profile, something like that. Well, like 10 years ago, if you searched my name, you'd find maybe 10, fewer than 10 in America. And I'm not sure outside of America, but I was like, oh, that's sad because I like my name. It's a pretty name and it's dying. And I was the youngest one. But now, if you look up my name, there's maybe 10 per state. Not in all the states, but that was quite a change, a drastic change. So I was like, oh, wow. And I still don't know if that means they're making like bank accounts or something. But I looked at the profiles, like relatives, stuff like that, just basic info. And it would have names of like relatives, friends, exes, people you know. And once I got to the point where I was like, oh, well, maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing. That very day, I got that PayPal denial letter. I'm like, I never tried to set anything up with you. What are you talking about? But anyway, that's what made it like, well, maybe there is something like going on. So again, what even turned me on to looking that direction was I had been watching Tarot. I wanted to learn a little bit, and instead of just learning the card meanings, I decided to watch some readers and see their different styles. Not all were for me, but I still liked watching them because you could take whatever, there were lessons in it. I also believe things can be a warning and you can change events to some degree. Um, but I have seen some things manifest that were weird. However, that's just another reason I'm like, let me make sure like everything's solid over here because, you know. But I think it is. But I think it might have been somebody's way of just teaching, as weird as it sounds. I considered the possibilities of like an international Ponzi scam, the cartel, the government. And when I say the government, yeah, that could be ours. We have a lot of foreigners in this land, though. Doesn't have to be ours. Um, Military, and when I say that, it could be foreigners too. I considered veterans. I considered secret societies. I considered um, just exes. people who may not like the things I'm talking about. So, a lot of what I considered did come from the tarot readers, and even if that wasn't what it was, I did care to entertain such ideas because it was thought provoking. I considered witches and, cults and illusionists as well. And I don't have anything down like solid, but I'm pretty sure they have illusionists, magicians working for them if, you know, they're not the head. Just a friendly reminder, not all of those kinds of people, illusionists, witches, I don't think all of them are bad. I've met some really kind ones. So, something that the tarot readers were talking about was a military cult leader named Lillian who actually used children. So, that was weird to me because my daughter told me about a little Roblox cult that she joined. It's a game, and in it, they're a group, and cult leader had the name Lillian and was supposedly like part-time military or something, and there were two leaders. Anyway, but the female was Lillian. Anyway, and they were kind of like, I want to say overseeing the bullying or influencing a little bit. I don't know. I would have said encouraging and leading, but my daughter was like, "Mom, we're toxic, right? This generation." So, I think but you know, they're in that position after I heard that tarot reading, so I was like, really? I did also notice after being urged to relocate numerous times, like compulsively, my daughter started talking about moving, about needing to move. And of course, a tarot reading wouldn't be quite a tarot reading without talk about corrupt law enforcement, and that means like different groups, not just one, local, and it goes up a ladder, right? And after the tarot reading started talking about that, I had somebody pop up, kind of like a brother figure, and mention something that I had never heard before, but I'm into the conspiracy stuff. So he said that the missing children posters, what if they were actually like doggies in the window, so to speak, but in an occult manner? I still haven't looked, but he also said that a lot of those photos of those children are suggestive. Like they'll be in bathing suits and stuff, which I don't know, but just mentioning it. And of course, prior to all this, I was aware of the generational instigation, ideology war, how things are being pushed as progressive that have been called mental illnesses for a long time. Some people are great people, but there are some people, they will dress up, put on an act for you, so you feel comfortable with them, so they'll get what they want. There are some people that use old pets to train dogs type shit. So remember that for the pets. And this is happening during a time when video games are targeting children to educate or indoctrinate them in youth um, into ideologies that they're pushing. This kind of stuff is why the great chief stood up.